Hi, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Beyond the Pages. And today we have Jade. Jade, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you, Deb. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
So we just dive in. Can you tell us a bit about yourself and your book?
I'm Jade May. I am an Australian romance author. I write contemporary spicy romances that are always hot and heavy, but always with the happily ever after. I started writing a few years ago, and my debut novel, Tempted by Eden, has just re-released on Feb 19. So it's now out in the world, which I'm super happy about. It's taken a long time to get to this point because my book was actually trad published a few years ago,
Mhm.
and it's taken a very long journey for me to be able to buy back my rights and self-publish it myself. So even though it is still my debut, it's been a long time coming. Yeah.
Mm, I'm feeling a bit of the same story coming up. I was originally traditional published. It took me forever to buy my rights back as well. So, what was um your thoughts? Why did you want to buy the rights of your book back? Like everybody's dream is like, oh, I want to be traditional published, but
Yeah, I mean, it didn't go to plan is what I thought it would. I
Mm,
mean, when I started writing, I was very naive. I didn't really know much about the industry. It was my first time writing. I wrote 10,000 words and I kind of just Googled, romance publishers. I submitted it to them. They loved it. And they said, when you finish it, come back to us, which I did. And they sent me a contract. So they absolutely loved it. I didn't really do much research. I didn't submit it to anyone else. I only submitted it to them and I just accepted the contract and I thought it would all be okay. Unfortunately, that didn't go to plan. They released it and there was just a whole heap of problems with it, with the release. They messed it up completely. So which was very, very disappointing. I mean, I could have just left it with them and moved on. But this book is book one of a series, even though it's a standalone, but it's part of an interconnected series. So I wanted it back because it is such an important book.
mm,
And I actually didn't want anyone else reading this version of my story out there.
mm,
Um, a developmental edit wasn't done, it wasn't proofread, the line and copy edit was not good. There was lots of reviews around how the editing was bad. So I wanted it taken down, I wanted it back, I wanted to fix it, which is exactly what I did. They ended up charging an absolute fortune to get my rights back. So I ended up having to do a Kickstarter to raise the funds for it. So I did that when I was lucky enough to be successful, that I had the support around me, that I managed to get the funds through that platform.
mm.
And I bought back my rights and then I completely rewrote it. I added like another 30,000 words and I went through the process properly. I went through a developmental edit, a proper line and copy edit, and then proofread. And the story that it is today is not even close to what it was originally published. They lumped me with a cover of the book that kind of belonged in the 80s. It didn't really belong in
Mm.
2025 or 2024 when it was published, and it was just horrible. So now it's got beautiful new artwork, it's got new ebook cover, new paperback cover. The formatting is gorgeous, and I've just been blown away by the response
Mm.
because it is technically a re-release. And I didn't think it would be as successful as it is, but it is. It's completely taken off, and I'm completely blown away by it. So thank you, everybody.
Well, that's a great thing, like being able to do that and catch your rights back and make it as you wanted. Like, I was naive as well. I had no idea there was somebody that liked my book, and it was like, yay. And the marketing and disappointment and getting the book out there. And what you said, like the lack of editing, it was just like, oh my
Yeah, it's actually quite
God.
embarrassing. And I just couldn't have it out there in the world for people to read because I was embarrassed from it.
Hmm.
So it is, but to put into perspective, I sold in the year that they had it, because it was a full year, I sold more in pre-sales and pre-orders
No, yeah.
when I did in the entire year trade published. It was insane.
Yes. So writers out there, do your research. Like even though people say they love your story, make sure you proper edit it even before you submit it to a traditional publisher, because if things go wrong, at least there's a good version out there of your book. So do your research. Like you have so many great publishers out there, and it's your baby. You feel like, oh, I wrote this. You're so proud because you actually finished the book. And people take advantage of that. And it's a sad thing. And especially when you look at the book world, the amount of scammers and people just taking advantage of naive people that don't know how the business works. They're just starting out and are proud of what they do. So
Exactly.
yeah.
I mean, this publisher it wasn't a scam, and they've been around in the industry for a long, long time. So it's not like that they were new. So I kind of
Mm.
a gut instinct with that, but they didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know what they were doing. And I've learnt my lesson
Mm.
and I'm doing my research now. Um, I I really wanted to put my own spin on it and my own marketing and my own covers, because I knew what works and what doesn't work. I'm actually a marketer in my day job. So I run my own business. So I wanted to have that control over it. That's why I didn't submit it to anybody else. I wanted to self-publish.
Well, good choice because it's taking off. So tell me about your book, please.
Yes. So, Tempted by Eden is a spicy enemies to lovers romance. It's actually an office romance as well. Um, it's a billionaire romance too. So Eden is a place. It's not a person. It's a kinky brothel in Sydney, based in Sydney, and I always wanted to write a series based on sex workers, like a sex positive
Mm.
series based on the sex industry and sex workers' lives. So I've always wanted to do that and to write a stories based on their kind of stories and their journeys and what they go through. So this is book one. And book two is Seduced by Eden, and that's coming out on May 21. And I'm
Oh,
currently writing the third one at the moment. So yes, it's all exciting. So there'll be four books in this series in total.
okay, that's so exciting. So, what drew you to like sex workers? Why is it so important for you to tell this story from their perspective?
Yeah, so I actually have a lot of, oh, I used to have a lot of contact with sex workers. So about 10 years ago, I worked in an escort agency based in Sydney, behind the scenes doing admin and doing marketing work. So I got to talk to a lot of the sex workers that worked there at the
Mm.
agency and got to know them and got to know their stories and their backgrounds. And I just found it so interesting. I think that the sex industry is no longer taboo. I think it's very much out there and out in the open, and it's not illegal. So it's just it's a part of society, and as the saying goes, it's the oldest profession. So it is very much part of our society. So I did want to write stories about them, about the sex workers, and that's Tempted by Eden is, it's really deeply inspired by themes of self-discovery and feminism and sexual liberation.
Mm.
So those themes definitely come through, not only in the first book, but all the way through.
Well, that's and like having worked there. it gives you that insight. And I think like most of the time we read books and especially the spice books, but it's always from the other perspective instead of a sex worker's perspective. So yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And not only did I get to know the sex worker stories, but the client stories. Where do they come from? Who are they? Why are they seeing sex workers? What do they get out of it? I mean, it was such a fascinating, industry. I just
Fascinating world,
love
isn't it?
diving into it.
So, how much research did you really had to do to create your first book, to be honest?
Yeah, look, not much research, online research. It was all based on personal experience, and the stories that I heard and what I saw. So it's all based on me, on my personal stories. Yeah, I didn't really do much research in that regard.
So, like, even though the taboo is lifting a bit, it's still a part that people are uncomfortable with. Sort of like we read spice, but we don't need to have it on the cover. You know what I mean? Um, so with your book and like marketing it and releasing it, did you like came across any struggles that was really hard to actually go through with it, or any other struggles you found with releasing it, or
No, because it's even though it's based on them as sex workers, it's just them as people. Like
Mhm.
tropes are enemies to lovers, office romance, and then you've got a kinky club. So it still fits in within the same tropes that people are familiar and comfortable with. And I know I've had a few comments that people say to me, "Oh, so is it kind of like Sarah Kate? Like her books on
Mm,
her club that she wrote?" And I'm like, yes, it is, but also at the same time, it is quite different. Because yes, it is Eden is woven into the story, but it's not the main point of the story.
okay.
Yeah.
So when you are writing, how does like a normal day for you look like?
Yeah, I don't have a typical day. I wish I'm ashamed to say that. I work full time. I run my own business. I'm also a mum. I'm a partner. I run a household, and I also have a lot of health issues. So, all of that stuff comes first before being an author. And yeah, when it comes down to it, all it is whenever I can spare a few hours to actually sit down and write. And my process is really simple. It's just complete silence. Like I need silence. I need to think. I put my loops
Mm,
in so I can't hear anything. I put my phone in a separate room so I don't have the urge to touch it and to scroll through social media. Like I need no distractions. Um, just to be able to focus and to write for a couple hours. So I only actually get a chance to write in a couple hour blocks. I don't actually have a full day available to me. Yeah.
no. So in your experience, like weaving that into your life, and health struggles, because that must be like sometimes difficult to coordinate. So like sometimes I speak to authors and they're like, okay, we're publishing book one then, and we're publishing book two then, and we're publishing book three then. But for you, that must be like tricky. For you, it would be like, when I finish book three, you guys will be the first to know.
Yes, exactly. And plus I'm a very slow writer. I don't have a lot of time, but I'm also a slow writer. So um, the only reason why I'm able to do Tempted by Eden, which released on Feb 19, and then Seduced by Eden is May 21. The only reason why I can do it so close together within the 3 month span is because both of them were written last year. They
Yeah.
weren't, anywhere close to being released. So. Will I get book three out by the end of this year? Probably not, because I'm a slow writer and I don't have that much time. So it will probably be January or Feb next year. Yeah.
Okay. So when you started writing, like you have your own business, like I think you doing your business in marketing as well.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. Yep.
Mm.
So I run that. Yeah.
So what made you want to write and becoming actually a published author?
Well, for me, I grew up with an illness and I was in hospital a lot. And
Mm,
for me, reading was my escapism when I was a teenager. So I read lots and lots of fantasy books. I loved werewolves and vampires and anything with fantasy in it, I absolutely
mm,
loved. That was my escapism because I was stuck in a hospital for very long periods of time. So, and I missed out on a lot of my teenage years and young adult.
mm,
What everyone else was, going out and experiencing friendships and having fun and dating.
mm.
That kind of didn't happen for me. I missed out on all of that. So reading was kind of like my saving grace. And when COVID hit, I kind of wanted, I started reading more and more romance books, away from fantasy into romance.
Yeah.
Found the stories that authors were putting out there was so inspiring, but it was so like sexually liberating too, to read about all these different stories and all these different kinks, and everybody gets the happily ever after. It's pure escapism. It's And I just thought during COVID, you know what? I want to do this. I want to write and I want to provide that escapism for others for what it provided me. So that was the driving force behind it.
Okay. And like, is that something you want to, or you hope your readers take away from your books? Like that escape, like for just a moment, real life out of the door, here we go.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I hope my novels offers readers like a much needed escape, a safe and empowering space where they can explore, their desires and their kinks without fear of judgment. I want my stories to be part of that larger fictional world where, self-discovery and sexual liberation are celebrated and not shamed. Um, and I really hope that through my characters and through the journey that they go through, I hope that they, feel seen and feel inspired. And it's okay to embrace every kind of aspect of who they are. Because even though, it is kinky and it is spicy, but there is a lot of character development and a lot of traumas that my characters face and challenges that they have to overcome. So there is quite a journey through it. People have slid into my DMs thinking that it's a really raunchy, just a pure smut book, but they are crying because it is emotional and it is, they got tears coming down the face because they just weren't expecting that type of emotion and angst that comes from it.
I think that's important as well. Like, I love a good plot, that and especially character development or world development if we're talking more fantasy, but romance, like a lack of character development is not just doing it for me. Like you can have all the spice in the world, but when you can't relate or feel for the characters, the
Yeah,
book will feel flat.
yeah, yeah. And that's the magic spice, isn't it? Making readers connect with your characters on both sides, both male and your female hero characters. You
Yeah.
want to see both sides of their stories and to connect to both. Otherwise, it's just spice.
We read those as well. So in the scale from 1 to 10, how spicy is your book?
Well, that's the thing, you've got kind of like a spice, the chili meter that other readers use between 1 to 5. Some have done 5 and others have done 2. So it's really a personal thing.
Yeah.
I would have done, I would have said 3 in
Mm-hmm.
between.
Yeah.
But it's really very much a personal preference on how much spice you read and what you think is spicy. Yeah.
Okay.
I I think it's pretty average, but then Seduced by Edith Beck book is steps it up a bit more. It's a bit more, I would say more for spice, for chilies. And then book 3, it goes back down, I would say 2. So it really depends. Yeah.
Okay, so Seduced by Eden, that's your second book that will be released soon.
Yes, in May 21.
So what can we expect there? You don't have to give the whole, but like a little insights.
Yeah. It's a friends to lovers contract relationship. It's forced proximity. It's a lot of fun. So it's based on the main character in Tempted by Eden's friend, and her journey through her family, working, trying to get away from her toxic family and looking after her sister and being in a kind of contract relationship with her main male character. Yeah.
Um, so your first book, is that already released or is that still in a pre-release state at the moment?
No, it's released. So Feb 19 it released.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's out there in the world, and yeah, it's going very well. So thank you very much, everybody.
And Seduced by Eden, um, is it going to be up for sale or not quite yet?
It is, yes. I
Okay.
did the cover release, cover reveal, I should say, during the week, and it's up for pre-order now, both paperback and ebook.
Guys, so we will have on our website the link to the book and to the pre-order. It sounds amazing. Like I love that it's turned around, that you actually have the look behind the scenes of a sex worker and more their stories. So I can actually wait to get my hands on it. It sounds absolutely amazing. So for everybody watching, um, Jade, her story will be on the blog a bit. We have some more questions she will answer only on the blog, with all the links to her books. And you can find the links to her book in the story as well. So just look and off you go. Jade, thank you so much for being here. It was really lovely to talk to you and get the insights in your story and what you have been through to actually come to this point. I like have massive respect. Like it must have been really hard to actually miss out on all those things as a teenager and fighting for your health and still having like to deal with it. So accomplishing that and then the drama with publishing. Um yeah, massive respect to you.
Thank you
Like,
so much. That's very kind of you to say. I really appreciate it, and thank you for having me on.
oh, you're very welcome. And when book 3 comes, please come back. Please come back because we want to know all about book 3 and what we can expect.
Amazing. Will do. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Jade. Guys, please again, the link to Jade's books are down here. So get a copy. And we will see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.